Direct from CBS News election headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
Good evening. The date is December 15th, 1967. And amidst the shock and tragedy of Silver Bridge collapse in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, good news could be found for many Americans of any age. President Lyndon B. Johnson just signed into law Public Law 9202, the Age Discrimination Employment Act. As its name suggests, the bill seeks to protect individuals from the discrimination based on their age. Hey, I think we want to know a little more about this bill. Now, an exclusive CBS interview with the 36th President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson. President Johnson, what do you have to tell us about this new law? Are you there, Johnson?
Yes, hello.
Hey, we were wondering about this bill you just signed, Public Law 9202. What's that and why is it needed?
Well, the Age Discrimination Employment Act, well, it's essentially a law making it illegal to discriminate against employees that are over 40 years of age. It was a bigger problem than it seems at first glance. Right now, there are a ton of groups facing discrimination considering the biggest stop to segregation just occurred in 1964. The Republicans don't see it as a big deal, but it's my job to continue support for the civil rights that the late Kennedy wanted. And with the lack of gridlock we are seeing right now, this is the perfect opportunity to make changes. My secretary, Willard Witz, thank you, released a report showing the substantial discrimination of older workers.
Mr. President, it's some papers I need you to sign.
Thank you.
Where should I put them? Okay.
Let's see. Congress created the legislation to allow older persons the opportunity to get decent employment if said person is able and possesses a great ability and skill. There is no reason to hold them back, Without this act, older citizens could potentially be denied their right to employment. Equal opportunity, equal protection interfere with their own pursuit of happiness.
Okay, but doesn't the Civil Rights Act of 1964 cover that? Title VII of it covers things like race, religion, color, sex, and even national origin. There should be something in there that extends protection to older citizens, shouldn't there?
Actually, no. Title VII doesn't extend coverage to a lot of things, such as age or sexual orientation. And it does not extend to federal employees or private contractors. With the law, broad statements aren't enough. The rights need to be listed out, or else they can be challenged easily.
That's perfect. That's just perfect. This gave me a question. Why is CBS allowed to mandate retirement at age 65? Is this all only protecting citizens when they're getting hired and once they're in? Isn't that discrimination? I'm not sure if I want to retire in, say, 13 years. What can you tell me a little more about that?
I apologize, Mr. Cronkite. You were cut off. Could you please repeat your question?
No problem, Mr. President. I was just saying, if this new act does what you're saying it does that not prohibit CBS's mandated retirement at age 65?
Well, now, here's the tricky part. There's a widely known case from 1964 called the Heart of Atlanta Motel versus the United States of America. In this case, the motel owner tried to refuse service to black patrons because he was a private business. He felt like the 14th Amendment wouldn't apply to him because of that, and that it is an infringement on his right to choose who his private business will serve. The Supreme Court did not rule in the motel owner's favor. They held that the government could enjoin private businesses from discriminating on the basis of race under the Commerce Clause. The Commerce Clause worked in this case because it is a motel that takes customers. CBS, however, is a private corporation. A better way to challenge CBS's retirement policy would be with an amicus curiae brief. It's not clear. It's clearly clear. Sorry there, Cronkite. It is clearly is not a huge problem that people are outraged about. So it would be up to those affected to push for an amendment like that. The Supreme Court could figure out a way to approve it with the elastic clause, considering they use it for everything else anyways. There's also a loophole that companies can take advantage of.
Which is?
If pension or salary costs are too high, it's not considered discrimination to fire an older worker. And older workers must prove that their age was a main issue in their termination, not just a possible contributing factor.
Wow, so there's still a pretty long way to go when it comes to protecting groups, huh?
Well, yeah, sounds about right.
Well, President Lyndon B. Johnson, I would like to thank you for your time this evening.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care. Love that man. Well, I think it's time for today's segment called Old News. The game where the oldest head wins. Let's introduce our guest. Player 1.
Yes, we love you, player 1.
And player 2.
Woo, go player 2.
So we're going to start off simple. Question 1. In Earth, Wind, and Fire's Love Holiday, what lyric famously follows? 'Cause I never ever felt this way in my heart before. Oh. Okay, contestants.
It's obviously Love Has a Holiday.
Correct. On to question 2. If your employer discriminates against you because of your age, what grants you protection? A, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. B, Title IX. C, the Age Discrimination and Employment Act of 1967. Or D, the Commerce Clause.
Can we get a hint for that question?
Sure. Your hint is time is relevant. And a relevantly relevant time is today.
I am going to have to go with C, the Age Discrimination and Employment Act of 1967.
Correct. We have our winner, player 2. And sadly, we also have our loser. Give it up for player 1. Woo!
Good effort, player 1. We still love you.
All right, folks, that's time. That's all we have today for Old News. Give them a wave. Give them a hand. All right, we're going to break. All right, America. It's been my pleasure speaking to you all tonight. It's been a pleasure. And that's the way it is.